arrow there just helps to have good reference. So this is what I teach the kids too, is a direction of travel arrow. So when you're navigating, you're going to use that arrow is what you're going to line up with the things you're navigating towards. Of course, you got the magnetic needle. So if you look at it right now, it's pointing north. Now, you're not wearing anything metal, but it's always something I teach the kids. I'll actually demonstrate it.
Oh.
You see how it's...
That's definitely influencing it.
Yeah, you see, this isn't... Yeah, there we go. Oh, the handle is really... See that? So when you're using a compass, it's always important to pay attention to any metal that's around it, because it will totally mess up your reading. So that dial, that's just a compass dial, and I'll show you how to use what that means. And then this is the base plate, and so most base plates, and this one included, they've got different markings on them, like inches, centimeters, and other things that you can use when you're actually using it with a map. Those things help to be able to measure distances on a map and stuff like that.
Convert it into miles and...
Right, so if you know it's like 1 inch to the mile is the scale on the map, you'd look, so that's useful for that. So, all right, so that's kind of the basic orientation of the compass. To find north, we've already kind of talked about that. So, you can, now if you rotate the compass, again, that needle's going to point north no matter what you do with the dial. But we'll turn it right there, and that's just kind of a orientation. So now we turn, and it's just now
north is north.
So
and
north,
direction is also
right?
north.
And so if you line that up like that, now you can see, now west is that way, east is that way, and south is that way. So that just kind of helps you to get your bearings. Next thing is taking a bearing. So let me just pick out a point here. Here, step over this way. So take that arch over there.
Right.
And I want you to hold the compass out in front of you and line that arrow. So sight down get it where you can see that arrow.
Right.
And now you're gonna line that arrow up with, pick the arch over there.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Okay, so now lower the compass and keep it pointing in the same direction. And now what you're going to do is turn that dial so the north mark on the dial lines up with the north point on the compass needle. Okay, there you go. And let it settle out. Okay, now you got to adjust it. It takes sometimes a little bit of time because it'll moving it around. Yeah, it's pretty good. So now, if you look at where this line is by the arrow, the direction of travel arrow, you'll be able to read off how many degrees that point is that you're navigating to. So now, obviously here we're not going to navigate in a straight line to get to that, but if you were in open country, you would line it up and then you'd follow, as you're walking along, you would follow that bearing to get to it. So that, let me try and read that off of there. So that's about 200, west is 270, so 246. So that's 276 degrees. So 0 is north,
right.
90 is east, 180 is south, 270 is straight west, and then 360 or 0 is back north again. And that's where, if you've got a map, you always want to orient. So if we had a map here, which I actually do, you would actually put your map down and keep it in the bag to keep it dry. So this arrow is pointing to that rock that we see out there is Courthouse Rock. So we could actually take a bearing. So, well, I know north is up on this map. So if I turn this, make sure I don't have any metal, and we are on the trail. I'm going to say most likely I know we're there because I've been here a bazillion times. Mm-hmm. So we're really where that view is. And if I line this up, we should be pretty well. Let me actually square that with the map. And let me hold it up a little bit here so I can sight. Yeah, so that rock, Courthouse Rock out there is a little off of north, but that's a good...
Right, like a little,
yeah.
little northwest.
Yep, slightly west. So that's that's how you take a bearing to something. So that's, to set yourself up, and if you wanted to get to some distant hill and you were moving around, you'd always keep going back and following that bearing. And if I have to go a quarter of a mile north because of the terrain, right? We're on this ridge, and if we go east or west, we're not going to make it anywhere other than the bottom of a cliff. So if you keep track of your distance, and you say, okay, let's say we're trying to get to that arch. If I go a half a mile north on this trail, and then I'm going to say, okay, now I got to go back to my other bearing, which is 276 degrees. And again, we're not going to be navigating in straight lines out in this country because it's too rugged. But generally, you're going to say, okay, I went a half a mile north, so you'd keep track of that, and eventually I got to make it another half a mile back south. So, but then as you're going in the 276 degrees, if you're able to travel in that straight line, it's a little tricky for some of that in this kind of country. And actually, a compass will help you if you're totally lost out here, but in this kind of country, because of the ridges and the valleys, your best friend is a topographic map. And this is actually when you're like when I have kids do orienteering and stuff like that, you actually give them a bearing and you say, okay, I want you to find this. So, and this is, I want you to find, let's see, we'll go 180 will be south, we'll say 90, 135 degrees. I want you to find a bearing of 135 degrees. So now what you're going to do is you're going to turn the dial and line 135 degrees up with your direction of travel arrow in that little line. So 135.
So
Just keep rotating it. Don't worry where the needle's pointing at the moment. So get 135 lined up, which those are 2-degree increments, which is what most compasses have. So you gotta kind of split the 134 and 136.
all right, so that would be 130, about 35.
Okay, so now point that in front of you. And so now you want to turn your body so that your body ends up facing, and turn it until you get the north to align. Okay, and hold that straight out in front of you. And so now you're on a heading of 135 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely did not know how to use a compass or any of this stuff correctly until now.
So those are your those are
I'm
your two basic features of finding and taking a bearing are two key things. And then the rest of the navigation becomes a little bit more complex, but those are the two key things you want to get down first in order to learn how to use a compass.
Well, I think if you're out there teaching the young kids, then they're on the right track.